Hi, Shira.
Hey, Yair.
How are you?
We have a visitor.
Hey.
Hi everybody.
So we have Israel today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming all the way from Jerusalem to our offices. How's it going? A big verification wave right now, right? Super busy.
Yeah, big time. So first of all, thank you for having me. Yes, everywhere, everybody's talking about it. Amazon suddenly out of the moon came with that new law. I guess this is something they were sort of enforced to do that.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what triggered that. Maybe on the legal side, Shira, do you want to explain a little bit what happened?
But of course.
What happened on the legal side? Why is Amazon doing that? Why is everybody going through a verification?
So there's a new law that came out against... the main focus here is to combat counterfeiters, stolen goods, and criminal action that's going on online platforms and marketplaces. So the law is actually not for the seller, but for the marketplace itself, and the marketplace needs to enforce it in their policies. The law is called the Inform Act. It's an acronym for Integrity, Notification, and Fairness in the Online Retail Marketplace for Consumers Act.
Very important.
In short, Inform. And it is actually what it is. It's informing and providing transparency about the sellers and who is on that marketplace. It applies to what the law considers as a high-volume seller, which I think they're either mocking us or being ironic, because high-volume seller for the act to apply...
It's not $500.
Yeah.
It's if you sold consecutively for 12 months out of 24 months, more than 200 products for the entire 12 months, for a year, more than 200 products, or made more than $5,000, you're considered a high-volume seller. I think that kind of covers 99% of our of Amazon sellers. If after 2 years in the business, you didn't have a year where you sold more than 200 products, I would suggest taking one of these wonderful courses out there.
Yeah.
So the law applies to high volume sellers and U.S. sellers?
It applies to any high volume seller worldwide that sells on the Amazon.com
or any other platform.
Yeah, but it's for the .com platform. Europe has their own new nice little directive. Marketplaces cover themselves. But right now we're talking about the Amazon.com. Doesn't matter the identity of the seller. You can be an individual. You can be selling from abroad. You can have a foreign company. If you sell on Amazon.com, it applies to you.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you mentioned here. You spoke about 99% of the sellers, but I find myself talking to those sellers that they sell, like for 15 years, they sell 10, 20 pieces a year or 10 pieces a month. It's like an habit or something they do for fun. They don't really, it's not like a...
It's something they do for fun?
Yeah, it's not an income. At some point they thought they would do way more. But
doesn't it cost more to keep it running and maintaining the store?
No, they don't maintain and run a business. They just publish some old books or they have some ideas to sell something that they somehow found for a very cheap price. But they actually sell 10, 20, or let's say 100 or 200 pieces a year. So it is existing.
And it also has to be consecutively, by the way. It has to have happened for 12 months consecutively.
So those people, for example, they didn't sell during the COVID. So
exactly.
So they not necessarily have this consistent sales.
So they did not. So all of those have not received the verification.
Actually, they did. The law talks about a certain amount of sales in a certain period, but I think that Amazon these days just sent that verification to everybody. Like most of the accounts that I'm working with, I know many sellers that I'm in touch on a daily basis. Everybody received that request for verification.
So from what I see, what you'll tell us in a moment, what exactly does Amazon need? What information does it include? But it kind of is what they asked for anyway up until now. I guess it's more of an enforcement thing. What information do they need now? What's included in this verification?
Okay, but first of all, when we're dealing with Amazon, it's always important to understand what's the Amazon point of view here. Like what's their idea. If you understand this, you're already halfway to the solution. Okay, so that law.
What's Amazon's incentive?
Yeah. So that law, it's to protect the consumers, right? That we're trying to protect. We're trying to stop or block any form of fraud activities and stuff like this. So if we understand that this is the main thing here, and the law is trying to remove some blocks or barriers between the consumers and the sellers, because today everybody from home, they can log into a marketplace and do whatever they want. So we're trying to stop this, okay? So, and Amazon are enforced to work according to that law, to that act. So they want to be transparent. A few years ago, we could see that Amazon started to request to put visible the seller information on the storefront.
Right.
This is another step toward this. So they want to make sure they know better who is behind the computer. Okay, so when we understand this, Amazon comes and tells you we need to verify few things over the information you submitted on Seller Central. So they request these days. The request to verify identity is in terms of the business and in terms of the actual person behind the account.
Which is kind of new, because I know that in Europe they would want, the contact person or whatever. I don't know.
The fiscal representative, the representative of the company.
Exactly. So now they want that also in the U.S. officially. It's not.
They call it in the U.S. They call it point of contact. Point of contact. It's different because in the Europe you will have to prove that you are actually the responsible person, right? But in the U.S. you just need to put a point of contact. And it makes sense because you see the differences between the structure of companies and the laws in Europe versus USA. Also, according to the law, an LLC is the person is protected between a company and
behind the corporate veil.
Right. So they're not really allowed, or they're not able to ask information about who owns that LLC. Okay, so they call it a point of contact, and which, by the way, I gotta say that new act that the Amazon are enforcing it right now. This is something that is existing few years already in Europe.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That's it's not something completely out of the moon.
So let's go back. You were starting to detail the different information that they need. So the business information, the contact point. What else?
Yeah. So that's the identity verification. They want also to verify just the last few days. The phone number, specifically, they verify the phone number separately than the address and the identity. Mm-hmm. They also verify the address and the bank account. Okay, bank account. We want to make sure that we're paying to the person who we were told that you are. Okay, we told Amazon we're a company ABC, so we want to make sure that we pay that company. Okay, and then also they verify who owns that account. So this is how they verify the bank account. And on
the
on the health dashboard today, you have a list of things that has to be verified. They mentioned there the tax information. Mm-hmm. So until today, it was verified. As far as I know, and I'm sure about it, they have a sort of sync between the IRS and their platform. So today, when you submit legal entity information, right away you see it's validated. And I'm facing also on a daily basis that you see that sometimes when you submit wrong information, right away they tell you we don't recognize. And even sometimes they recognize, but the next step, it's pending validation. So it's not actually validated.
So let's go back to the point of contact there. If you have if you have a company, okay, you have an LLC, does the contact point need to be someone from the company, one of the managers, one of the owners, or it can be anyone in the company, or just anyone, your mother, your sister?
Technically, it can be anybody. Okay, it can be anybody. What I suggest, what I would suggest to do, it's to not use anybody that have been on Amazon before. Okay, so we don't want, let's say, to make things complicated. Amazon might trigger some relation between how come he is also on that account.
So if you use someone that you won't be in touch within 4 years, it can create problems.
Maybe yes, but also at the same time, you might be able to change that point of contact, because we see very often like people are working for a big company, they open a Seller Central account, but that person will move on with his life, and he's not there anymore. So back in the time, you would or wouldn't be able to change that point of contact, but now they actually give you that possibility to update this information.
Let me just add that according to the new law, this verification process is going to happen every year.
Yeah.
And every year you have to provide or certify that the information that you have on the account is accurate or updated.
Okay.
And then provide to Amazon, this is the updated and most accurate information. And from what I read, they're going to have 3 business days to do it from the moment Amazon triggers the verification. That's according to the law. So that's kind of, I'm wondering what's going to happen next year when you only have 3 days.
Yeah.
How much time do you have now to comply
today,
with Amazon's request?
At the first notification, Amazon tells you that you have 60 days. Okay. You could, I think you might be able to remember some accounts in the United States between 2019 and 2020. Seller have been asked to confirm, like re-update the tax information.
Right.
You would see a red message in your account info, and it tells you, please confirm that this is the information didn't change, still the same. So it's sort of the same thing.
Right.
It's not so new.
Like domain names, they do that on domain names as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
But going back to the contact point, how do you know what's the contact point that you originally had in your account?
Okay, so first of all, that's something you should know. Okay, you register the account.
But can you check on your account?
No, not really.
We couldn't find a place to check it.
There isn't. And that's actually the point, because before that, this new type of verification, I call it's a new type of verification, because there used to be other type of verification. Over there, you could never know it, and sometime like many companies have been contacting us about it, and they said, look, we had a team, they worked on it, nobody can say who actually registered the account, and we've been submitting IDs, and Amazon wouldn't accept them, and it's quite difficult. The way I see it is that there is in the back end, Amazon does know that name, okay? But these days, until this new type of verification, they wouldn't insist to have this point of contact, okay? There is one type of verification that they ask for an ID or business information. People tend to use their ID for that. So yes, you need to have the ID of the original owner. But there is no way to know that information.
Yeah. So 2 questions. One, first of all, about ownership. So many of the sellers ask, like, if I add the contact point of, I don't know, my brother, okay, because he's easy to verify in the United States and I don't have any address or something like that, does Amazon know if that person is related to my company? Do they know the ownership in the US. In Europe, we know that they know because you provide, when you open an account, they know exactly who the owner is. But when you open an account in the US, they don't.
No, when you open an account in the US, you submit contact information. And
but
at
not
the same
the
time,
ownership.
Right. At the same time, you submit the legal entity information. And as we said before, they don't require to have the person who owns the company, okay?
So they won't know that the contact person is unrelated because they have no information about who the owners are in the US right now, still today, 2023.
That's the method of working these days. This is how they do. Very often people tell me, okay, we want to work with an entity. Let's say they partner up with another company. They want to work with a separate entity, but that entity belongs and owned by somebody that have another account. Okay, and they tell me they're very frustrated about it. They don't know what to do. It's possible or not possible. Amazon at this point, they when you submit the legal entity, they want to know only about the legal entity. They don't care who's behind that company. Okay. However, I gotta say that there are some exceptions. When we are talking about seller performance verification, at this point,
what's the difference?
Okay, I'm gonna explain 1 second. At this point, they do want to know who's behind a company, and seller performance verification. It's something that started to happen like 18 months back. Okay, they actually it's like we can call it the enforcement team.
Yeah,
they want to make sure that you're legit and everything is working properly in your business, and you're not selling any stolen or fake or inauthentic items. So they verify actually the business. How they do that? They do an identity verification through a video call. Mm-hmm. And over there, they ask information about the business, who owns the business, if you're not the owner of the business. So they want to make sure that you're allowed to run that business. They check most of the time. They check the supply chain.
And what triggers that verification?
I can point two main things that trigger that. First of all, it's dealing with high-value items in terms of branded items and high-value items. Usually it's branded items. And the second thing which comes together very often is that when an account used to sell different type of category, not high-value items. Let's say some accounts used to deal with home or baby stuff, and suddenly they start selling consumer electronics, branded consumer electronics. This change for sure triggers, and we see it very often because a lot of aggregators or sellers that acquire accounts, they acquire an account, acquire a business with certain amount of sales, a specific type of category, and suddenly they move to a different category, they change. So that for sure triggers. Usually there is a lot of things that triggers verification when dealing with high value items, and this change plus few red flags to Amazon, it triggered that type of seller performance verification.
So if go back to the Inform Act and the new verifications, kind of the same as incentive. They want to make sure that nothing, you're not selling stolen goods or something that fraudulent is going on. So if you've been selling diapers all your life and all of a sudden you started selling high volume branded products, obviously there was a shift. Something happened. There was a change in the account, and due to the new transparency requirements or whatever, it comes back to the same thing. They want to know what happened and to make sure that we're all good and we're all set. And what you say, the seller performance verification, the enforcement of the police, they just dive deeper in because something triggered that suspicion.
Yes, but I think
am I getting it right?
No, but I think you're a little bit mixing the two things, because that new type of verification that we're here to talk about, it's completely different. It's not seller performance. It's not seller performance,
so
and Amazon have enough things.
Each year you would have this type of verification due to Inform, and you might have seller performance verification during the year regardless.
Yes. But imagine yourself that that yearly verification that Amazon said that they will do. Maybe they will just ask you to click and declare that all the information is the same.
Got it.
It's not doesn't necessarily. Or if you tell them no, it's not the same. At this point, they will give you the option to update and submit new information or submit the changes.
I've also read that if in Amazon's policies, that if you just recently gone through a verification, you might even not get this email. Then you can see it if you go into your account. You can see that it's all green with a check mark, a green check mark. That means that you just recently in Amazon updated and Amazon satisfied.
Yeah, so
you might not even get that email.
That check mark, it's something new, and I gotta say, we can see here that Amazon were somehow enforced to do that very, very fast. They have sort of deadline. They can.
Yes, it
there
starts.
might be a lot of reasons
the
for
act
that.
is coming into play on the 27th of June, 2023.
Yeah, but you never know. Maybe there is something behind. Like maybe they had some cases with the law that they had an agreement to run it very fast, because a law usually doesn't come out and that fast. And as far as I know, we can see that there is something happening in a rush because the system is not really
it doesn't flow.
Yeah, they have bugs in
There's
this.
bugs. There's a lot of bugs happening over there, and it's not Amazon type. Amazon, it's the giant. They have the beast software, a beast machine to operate. It's not happening. It's not something. It's not
so
their
it's
type.
not typical to Amazon.
It's not typical for them.
Let's talk about those bugs for a second, because we had many questions about that. Why do I still have that banner on the top after I passed the verification? Was that fixed, or is it still?
No, it's not fixed, and it can also freak out a little bit. A lot of people are not sleeping at night because of that. And
what else do you see in terms of problems?
What else? For example, the bank verification, we can see that they want to verify that the bank account is owned by the individual who opened the account, which completely doesn't make sense.
Right, because
if it's a legal entity, it's a company
business,
selling,
right.
I'm not disbursing the funds to my personal bank account. So
what do you do in those cases? These are exactly the cases where
we need to talk to them. Okay, we need to talk to them. It helps. Okay, which
with Amazon.
It's not typical with them. Open a case, talk about it. And also, sometimes you need to submit the right bank statement, and instead of validating the individual person in the account, they validate the legal entity with the bank statement.
The company and the
I've heard of instances where the bank sends a letter that says that this is the company and this is an authorized assignee of the company.
That also it's an option. We had cases that worked and didn't work. But I gotta say, because we're trying to help our community here. And first of all, when you hear that podcast and when you want to make sure that you have better understanding with this verification thing, new verification, first of all, don't panic, okay? Because compared to the previous or to the other things on Amazon, there is a communication, there is second chances, which people are not familiar with this on Amazon. Usually people think, I'm doing one mistake, I'm screwed, we're over. And I can understand that people are really, really afraid, really freaking out about
Especially the first verification. When you enter Amazon, if you go through one, if you make mistakes, it's hard to come back from that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so
also
this one's different.
So it's from people's experience. This fear comes from somewhere.
Very often. Like many people does mistakes intentionally or not. And they very often you cannot go back. Like Amazon are even if you did nothing wrong, but Amazon think sometimes there is no way back. And here with that verification, first of all, it's not a big deal. Everybody can go through it, and it's doable as far as you're legit
and helping the community. I
was trying to say, first of all, don't panic, and And also, when you panic, you take a wrong decision. So this is one thing. Don't panic. It's possible. If you do a mistake, you can go through it and fix. Amazon are giving you the possibility to fix. Amazon are communicating about it, which is also very very good. Now, as part of trying to help, when you go through a verification, make sure that everything for you is clear. Okay, if it's clear for you, and you put things in order, so you can go through that verification with already a better chance to successfully pass it. Look at your legal entity, the legal entity information that is submitted on the account. Make sure that you submit the exact same information on that
to the letter. When you say exact, you mean
to the letter in terms of address and name. Something important that I don't know why Amazon are a little bit confusing about it, but when you submit the legal entity, you have they ask for the tax information, but they use different terms like a license. There is a license for business, like
business
a
license, right?
business license, which is something different, but they simply want the tax ID.
Yeah.
And people are calling like, what's this? Yeah, I don't have whatever. It's simply the EIN.
The tax ID,
Yeah, tax ID. And then the point of contact. And the bank statement, okay? So they want the business information, they want the point of contact. Point of contact, you can use a passport or a driver license.
Is it true that driver license are better than passports? There's that's just a rumor.
Yeah, just a rumor. Passport, it's easier to submit. It's just one file. The driver license, you need to submit both sides. And also, when you scan the passport, don't try to be very tech guy and scan it on your phone and use some apps. Just use a simple scanner or image, but make sure it's straight. We see all the corners.
No reflections.
Right. Exactly.
Do you need to notarize documents?
Translations.
If they're not in English.
An ID should be in English. I think that most of the IDs these days are in English.
Mm-hmm. There may be in English and in an additional language. Does that matter?
It does matter. If it's not American, so it has.
If it's English and
French or anything.
Do you need to have it translated just to English, or? It's okay that so long there's English there, as long as there's English there, it's fine.
Yeah. I know that at some point at Amazon you might be able to submit different languages thing, but an ID usually have an English name, so it should be enough, and it is enough. And something very important, it's the next thing. They want proof of address. Okay, the proof of address comes right after the point of contact. So people are submitting proof of address to the point of contact, but we need actually the proof of address for the business. So if you have a bank statement with the business name and address, simple as is, and that's a solution. And if it's not been accepted after you checked everything, just make sure that you scan the ID again, or provide a different bank statement. Why? Because sometimes Amazon tend to make sure that you actually have it. So by submitting a different copy, so it means that you have it. You're not just taking.
But what if you have an LLC and you don't really have? You have an address of that LLC, but you have no documents to provide for this address. Can you use the point of contact instead?
So. I'm not sure, and I don't think so, because I know for sure that the proof of address is for the business. Mm-hmm. However, any business has an address these days. You can ask
for exceptions.
And the proof of address here, it's not a utility bill type. Mm-hmm. It's simply credit card or bank statement, okay? So a bank statement always have an address. Yeah. Now, if you're telling me this is an address that I use for not really like I open the business over there, but I'm working abroad and I don't have a physical address over there. So as I said, your bank account have an address, okay? So just make sure that you update all the addresses according to the bank account information. So
I want to circle back to where you said don't panic. And I agree with you. When people panic, they make mistakes. And now with this new law, there are repercussions for such a mistake when people panic. That's why I really agree with you that they need to make sure that everything fits and everything is legit. According to the law, if Amazon, and they also say that in their notice, if you don't provide the information within the required amount of time, Amazon is required to suspend you. It's not something that they can, consider or whatever. They have to. It's not a permanent suspension. It's a suspension until you provide the correct information. So as if somehow it's discovered that a seller provided the marketplace with information that is not accurate, but is just to fit the mold. Like you say, the law actually speaks about that. And they say that this is considered fraudulent in their eyes and that Amazon needs to suspend that seller until they fix that and that issue. So it's all legit and all correct. So just do things in a manner that was thought and take the time to be accurate about it. Because that would save you a lot of trouble later.
Yeah,
and we don't know, because it's a new law. We don't know where Amazon is going to take this.
Yeah, as you explain also, when you understand the act, you understand what Amazon,
right.
the incentive that Amazon have here. It's resolving everything. So like you know what they want. So you are going to behave and act and be like that. And then submit the right information. Right. As you said, also the suspension that might lead due to wrong information is not permanent. So
exactly. It's to work
you have
things
a way.
out.
You have a way to. However, at some point, Amazon might tell you, "Listen, you failed. Something is wrong with you. So we're not. We don't.
That would
eat
be
it
under
anymore."
Amazon's discretion already, from their nature as a business partner, if they want to continue a contract with you or not. But the law would require the suspension for the investigation that Amazon doesn't have any say whether to suspend or not. They have to.
No discretion. Let's go back to the most, I guess, the mistakes that most sellers do with those verifications. You were mentioning using the address of the point of contact instead of the company. Can you refer to other examples of mistakes, common mistakes?
Different bank statement. Which other mistakes people do? They don't correctly type the information about the business.
So it's not identical to the letter.
Yes, and they're not properly scanning the IDs. Well, let me see. Also, like very often people, we had few cases like this that people submitted the country of resident or country of the issue. There was a mismatch over there. That's people does mistakes, intentionally or not intentionally, and they don't understand.
And then they just reject it, and they give you a second.
They do give you the information, like the indication what was wrong. However, like any other Amazon cases in terms of suspension, they don't always give you the right reason. So if you get a rejection, don't look at what they tell you necessarily. They look at everything that
surrounding
you submitted. Surrounding that or anything else.
Have we had someone who failed, really?
Of course. We have few cases that we submitted. Amazon are still. This is also, I think it's a glitch, but still asking to submit information. And when you go there, you see they don't give you the option to update information.
Hit the button submit, right.
Or they give you a green message over there. We receive your submission. We're still waiting for it, or something like that. So we don't surely know that there is an issue. Okay, so it's still pending. But at the same time, they do ask you to submit.
So in those cases, what would you recommend doing? Opening cases.
And also right now, the time is crucial. But the time will say things are changing every day. I can see updates in the system of verification in the health dashboard. You said the health dashboard. We still see that error message, and also actually the nightmare of most of the sellers. It's happening when they log in the account. They see your risk is at your account is at risk of deactivation, which is the really what people don't like to wake up. I used to say until 2-3 years ago, every Amazon seller wake up in the morning and check if his account was suspended, and it's
your heart skips.
It hurts to think about those people that are not sleeping at night. They have a few $1 million business running, and they are very afraid every moment to be suspended. So Amazon improve all that thing with the health dashboard and the warnings and stuff.
I've actually seen in Amazon's question and answers that they've published recently saying, we know there's a lot of confusion going around over these verifications. Here's our few typical questions and answers. And one of them is, I received an email that I passed verification, but I still see the banner on my account saying your account is at risk of deactivation. What's correct? And Amazon says, don't worry about it. It's a glitch. They actually say that. The email is correct. Ignore the banner.
Yeah.
So you can rely on that email as a stamp of approval.
By the way, if we're going back to the law, how come eBay isn't doing that?
The question you should ask is not how come eBay's not doing it, is how come eBay is not as courteous as Amazon is to give you a heads up notice that this is going to happen. Because in June 27, 2023, this will be implemented. So eBay sellers are going to be caught off guard. Amazon sellers will not, because they had time to prepare and also have some sort of structure or an attempt of a structure to make this happen and to implement the changes and to update Amazon and to work with Amazon. So I would say the question is, how come eBay is not as structured and organized and nice as Amazon?
Israel, do you know anything about eBay and their plans?
I can say with my experience with eBay that, first of all, eBay thinks completely different. Okay, Amazon and eBay, it's two different ways of thinking. Although we can see that they try to behave and copy things they do. However, they think completely different. And here we can see Amazon, they know that they need to give people some time, but at the same time they have a deadline. So this is why they launch something, and there are a lot of glitch and issues. Right. But they're ready to go through that. You never know. Maybe eBay will come 3 days before. Another thing, a big difference, is that eBay are verifying sellers completely different. Okay, so maybe we can say that they already at a better position compared to Amazon in terms of verifying the ID. They might send you 2 days before, hi, it's the day that you need to click that you're the right person, same person.
Yeah.
So, and also maybe they decided they want to build a verification platform in a better way that there won't be any glitches and any issues. Yeah. So this is why we don't see them coming up about it. Walmart, I did hear, we've been talking with the team a few days ago about Walmart verification. So they're also coming up, and everybody needs to be ready for that. I can say all the Amazon, all the online sellers, the retailers, until today they've been focusing on how to sell and what to sell. But just make sure that you know also who you are as a seller. And do the right thing.
Right. And so going back to Amazon, what if you bought an account from someone and you changed the details? So it was the original owner, you changed it to your company. Do you do now the verification to the new company as if it was the first one?
Yes, definitely. As we said before, first of all, you you are submitting a point of contact information. Okay, as I also mentioned, that there is a different type of verification. They just ask you for an ID, and it should match the person who was there before. But here they give you the option. You can submit the point of contact, and they will verify the information of that person, and the ID should match that person.
But with the other kind, so that was the one that we have now. But with the other type of verification, the ones through video with the seller performance, is that they sometimes ask for, like you said, the details of the original owner. What do you do in those cases?
Yeah, so we had a few cases like that. And we are talking to somebody, okay? So when you talk to them, you explain them the situation, and you need to prove them. You need to show them, here, I'm going to send you, or sometimes they also ask to look at it.
The contract.
So they ask for the contract. They ask you to show it in the video verification, and also then you need to submit it over the...
They ask you to show the contract. You have to print it out and show it, and here's a piece of paper.
I'm not sure about the contract, but for sure the bank statement, the ID, they want to see it. They want to see it in an image, and most of the time they also when you finish the verification, they ask you to submit it over the email. Submit it to them by email.
That makes more sense than dangling of bunch of papers.
Because they do want, when you see something in the video, you can see that it's existing, it's legit and everything, and then you get it over the email.
Yeah. So just to summarize this point, there's two kinds of verifications. The one that we see now these days in May, June 2023, where it's quite simple. You just do it through you show the documents for your legal entity. You put a new point of contact, and you prove the address of actually the company, the legal entity. And that's quite simple, even if you changed it and there was a previous owner. Whereas when we're talking about the seller performance verification, which are triggered by Amazon, and they usually ask to do it through video these days. For this, it's a little bit more complicated, and you would have to prove to Amazon that the point of contact has changed, because they have in their record the original one, right?
Yes, they have the record, and also you may present yourself as a worker for that company, so they also want to see proof of it. As I said,
like an employment contract?
Yeah, definitely.
As the person who goes on the verification.
No, you get paid sometime. You have this type of things.
I get paid sometimes.
But you need to look at it in a way that who's verifying you. Okay, over there, the new type of verification, it's a mass verification. They need to verify right now a couple millions of sellers.
Right.
Okay, and that's also an advantage in terms of do it now. Things
quickly
needs to run.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but still, you will have to go through this every year at a certain level. And the other verification, you can see that they don't ask for just information. They want to verify that information.
Yep.
They want to check the invoices that you supply. They want to check the company information. They want to check.
But when you do supply information, no matter under what context, make sure you'll be able to back it up. Don't supply neighbor's daughter's grandmother, I don't know what, because it's an easy and convenient name that hasn't been on Amazon. Because if it comes up and you have to back it up, A, you're not providing true information, and B, you won't be able to back it up and you'll be stuck.
Yeah. Another way of saying it and explaining that situation is that Amazon continue to be smarter and smarter. When talking about identity verification, it's not just submitting anymore. It's something way more deeper. We're talking also this new generation of AI and all that kind of things. Today, I see the way I see it. I believe that it's people are actually checking that information that we're submitting. There are many systems, and I know that Amazon are already using them to verify the information automatically, let's say by robots and stuff like this. And you see that we're getting closer to a point that it will be only machines that will verify that information.
Smart machines.
Yeah, a smart machine. Also integrations between machines. We said before about the IRS, but there are many other things that we can see also these days with the bank. You have identity verification over there on the phone. They ask you crazy questions about your personal life, and they know it. They ask you like, happened to me. They ask me, do you know a cousin of you? Does he lives in Brooklyn or in Bronx?
Jeez.
And it seems to be they know that I should know that information somehow.
Right.
Crazy questions that you see that they're working with huge database of information about you, and they want to identify you.
And so maybe a small question about the difference between the US and Europe. What do you see in Europe?
Okay, Europe have been always
very
tougher.
Active there. Yeah,
it's very tougher. The verifications over there are way more complicated. They want to go deep inside the structure of the business, who runs the business, who are the beneficial owners, and then you have also the possibility to submit a point of contact. They call it
There's so many VAT there.
Representative. Yeah, VAT. It's a tax thing. Okay, they do need to verify it, and you must have it in order to verify and activate your account. However, it's the verification is different than the tax thing. And over there, when we are talking about verification, you definitely want to make sure that you're backed up with all the documents. And the number one rule or the number one tip that I can give is that when you come to Amazon in Europe, make sure that the structure of your business is clear and not complicated. I know people live in France and they want to sell and they have an LLC in the USA, okay, and they want to sell in the UK, okay, and then they open a business under a business in the UK. Anyway, you know, all that type of company owning a company, or a person lives in that country and have a company in a different country. These are complications, okay? So for Amazon, it's complicated, too many red flags. If small mistakes, they ban you and you cannot activate the account anymore. So if you live in France, have a company in France which will sell in the UK, okay? Make things clear and easy for them to understand. And if you must work like this, like a company owning a company with individual
sometimes
living,
you have investors and stuff, and you can't really control the structure.
It is. So if you have it, make sure that you're ready with all the documents backing your story, backing it up, and you know, because
I would even
all,
provide a diagram or a chart.
Definitely. This is what we do, and actually these days they are asking it like this.
Yeah.
They are asking you, show you chart of explaining the hierarchy of the company and who are the beneficial owner over 10% or 20% of shares and all that kind of things. And over there, I can say it's way more complicated. But of course, once you pass this, you're open to a huge market in Europe, and the sky is the limit.
Israel, anything else you want to add in relation to these verification? Anything you want our listeners to know?
First of all, I want to say Amazon is getting smarter, and we need to be also smart. So this is something very normal that it's happening, and you know, we are all Amazon sellers trying to help Amazon sellers behave, do the right thing on Amazon. We are trying to have good happy customers. This is the main what Amazon's trying to do. So we need to be on the right side. We're not trying to avoid that kind of things.
Right. Basically, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's challenging, but challenges are getting you to a better place.
Right.
So that platform, that system is getting better and helping people to be in a better place.
Well said.
Yeah.
Here.
Thank you. Thanks, Israel, for this
Thank
time,
you so
for your
much.
time, and
so
a lot
much.
of information, super valuable, especially these days. And we hope to have you again very soon.
And keep us informed.
Keep us informed.
All right. We're here.
Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments, and we'll be happy to reply.
Thank you, Yair. Thank you, Shira. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.